Should top reps be pre-qualifying leads? Now, if we've got a high volume of leads, we should be using other systems, tools, people to be doing that for them. And this has been a really interesting conversation I've had with a few reps out here in the US with regards to how they're managing their patch, how they're handling all the leads that are within their remit, within their ICP, ideal client profiles, and ensuring that they're going to be the right fit, because certain organizations and certain industries are easier to qualify or pre-qualify than others. And sometimes, I've heard it so often as to who's your ideal client? Everybody. Okay, well, they're not. Yes, you might be able to sell to everybody, but you need to find who are those that are a great client to work with, that require your service or more than one key part of your service or product. Who pays on time, who's fanatical, who spends the most. There's so many things that go into it. So don't just settle for everybody is. And so coming back to the question, which is, should your top reps be pre-qualifying? No, they shouldn't. They should be spent doing the top tier, the revenue generating activities, the things that are going to make the business more money. And so I think pre-qualification is the lowest rung. There's so much that can be done in AI using internal salespeople, sales development reps, even using calling bots. And they're not my favorite thing to talk about right now, because I do think they do impact trust. But if we are pre-qualifying where we just need to vet some information, we can get most of that from the receptionists. Again, depending on the industry. And so if we think of the prospecting as a term, prospecting creates opportunities. When we think then of qualification, that filters opportunities. And then when we anchor that, prospecting creates pipeline and qualification protects your time. Should I go forth with this requirement? Qualification will tell you yes or no. And so if our top reps are pre-qualifying, we're wasting their time. And they should be shaping, though, however, they should be shaping what qualification is required and providing the notes, especially for those more junior teams that don't necessarily know. And they're asking the questions and it's not maybe as simple as a yes or a no, or do they need this, or do they ship here, or do they require training here? All of that is going to be relevant to what the next step is. And you're going to have your really clear no's and you're going to have your really clear yeses. But if your junior team or your inside sales team or your admin support teams are pre-qualifying, anything great can still go through to the top rep. They can still review it, and then they may make a decision that they're going to pick up the phone anyway and ask a couple of extra questions. So it allows us to use the data to make a better decision. And if we're looking at consistency across teams, we're looking at what questions are they all asking? Is it all the same? Is every qualification conversation created equal? Are we using a framework? So like BANT or MEDDIC or SPIN or Black Hat, I've seen them all. Frameworks are a great way to ensure the qualification's been done, but they're not a sales methodology. So I think that's often where people get confused. Is I get asked, for sales training, and then, we're currently looking at a specialist for MEDDIC. Okay, great. Well, MEDDIC is a qualification tool, so go use that as part of it. But training on MEDDIC isn't going to teach you how to pick up the phone. It's not going to teach you how to build a great discovery call, because it's about a framework. It's not about the actual doing of that task. And so we want to collect answers in one place. Is the CRM the place to do it? How are they being analyzed? Is the marketing team using a certain tag so that they can communicate more effectively? So much more goes into pre-qualification than just a senior rep having to ring and validate before they then go into a further conversation. Because if we pre-qualify first and then we have an opportunity to call second, we use the information gathered in call one to have a more impactful call two, which is why lead development for us works so well. Is we're having multiple calls. We might use a pre-qualification insight, which might be a trade show or a lead magnet or a marketing qualified lead. And then we drive out of that the information to make the second call, to make the third call, to make the LinkedIn message, to resonate with them in some way. And so if we pre-qualify and if we have the right information that's being gathered whilst using the right resources that isn't going to cost the business as much money, that's where we should start. And then there's more senior reps, those that are going to be out there booking, having those meetings, booking those meetings and qualifying deeper because we've identified they fit that kind of level one. They can input and influence over the information that's being gathered. They can then go out and go through the higher tier valued opportunities, which is where you're spending most of your money, and then be able to see a higher return on their time. Versus if you've got 1,000 leads to go through, if 300 of those have been pre-qualified, well, I know where I'm going to spend my time for the next few weeks. If they're not, I don't know whether the call I'm making today, the 10 calls I'm making today are all pre-qualification calls or not. But I know that I'm going to get more out of ringing people that I know fit our ICP or that have said, yes, they do this certain thing or potentially require this certain service. Just put your reps in the best position to make the most of that money for your organization. Now, something I do want to just highlight is that I believe every single rep, regardless of status, should be prospecting. We know that when senior teams stop prospecting, we start seeing these ups and downs of sales momentum and close rates because we get busy and we stop prospecting or we don't think we need to. But when it actually comes down to it and when that number needs to be hit, we're not going to do it because the prospecting time that it takes, the window's gone. And so if you prospect now, it's going to impact you in 30, 60, and 90 days. So if you impact or if you prospect at the time when you need it, you're not going to see the outcome because the time that you need it is now. And prospecting takes time. So I would be looking at where am I spending most of my time? Can I pre-qualify? And if you don't have a team, an internal team or an admin person that can support you, what AI tools could you use to spend an afternoon between 4 and 5, maybe when it's the least, your least productive time, or between 1 and 2. I know for me, between 1 and 2, I always like to take a bit more of a break. So can I do something that's not requiring much of my brain? Can I get a VA that can go out and do that? So depending on sizes of organizations, but most of the companies we work with, they have multiple layers of salespeople at different levels. And to work smarter, to get the most out of every dollar you're spending on your sales teams, you're looking for those junior reps to do that legwork, the groundwork. You're looking at your BDMs or your more senior reps to go out there and have conversations that meet that ideal client profile, or where there's that gray area. You'll see more traction, you'll see faster engagement through meetings, and then therefore faster engagement through close rates as well. A couple of key takeaways from today's quick episode is that every rep should still prospect. Using more junior reps or those that are not necessarily going out there having those meetings to do pre-qualification and get pre-qualification parameters set by those that are going to need it later on down the line. Automate and delegate and keep your highest cost or highest revenue generating teams on the highest revenue generating tasks. Because for us, we want to work smarter, not harder, generate the most, have the maximum impact, and speak to the ideal clients as much as we can. So if you are a prospector, regardless of your role, think about how could you be more effective? Think about how could you as a team or as an organization look at the way you approach sales differently and use the resources at your fingertips, whether it be more junior teams, whether it be investing in AI or different tools that provide you with this type of intent and data that's being captured so that you can focus on what you do best.